I never imagined I'd find myself here, standing on the edge of something I couldn't name yet, heart pounding like it was trying to escape my chest. Before we continue, drop your city and time in the comments, and thanks for listening to my story. Now back to the story. It all started on an unusually warm April morning in Denver. The kind of morning where the sun hits just right through the tall glass windows of the coffee shop on Larimer Street, making the steam from your latte dance in the air like it's alive. I was sitting in my usual corner booth, sketchbook open, pencil hovering over the paper, pretending to work on designs for the magazine I freelanced for. I was 28, independent, and, at least I told myself, completely untouchable. That's what I like to think. Then he walked in. Matt. He had this messy charm, the kind that made people notice without trying. Jeans ripped in the right places, a leather jacket that looked like it had been through 1,000 small adventures, and hair that always fell perfectly over his forehead no matter how much wind or coffee or chaos tried to mess it up. I didn't know him then, not really. But there was something in the way he scanned the room, eyes landing briefly on mine before flicking away, that made my chest tighten. It was almost accusatory, like he knew he'd disrupt my life without even meaning to. Weeks passed, and we ran into each other more than coincidence could explain. At first, it was small talk, ordering coffee, awkward smiles, jokes about the weather. Then one evening, at a downtown art exhibit, he actually spoke to me. "You're always here drawing," he said, leaning casually against the wall. "Ever think about drawing something that scares you?" I laughed. Scares me? I mostly scare myself with deadlines and bad ideas. But he didn't let it go. He stayed. We ended up talking for hours about everything and nothing. Music, life, regrets, dreams we'd never told anyone. He had this way of listening, really listening, that made me forget where I was, what I was doing, even who I was supposed to be. That was when I started noticing it, the pull, something forbidden in the way my heart responded whenever he spoke. See, I had a rule. Never get involved with someone like him. Someone like him meant charming, spontaneous, maybe a little reckless. Someone who could crash into your life and leave chaos behind. Someone who could hurt you without meaning to. But rules, I learned quickly, are fragile things. It wasn't until that Friday night, under the amber glow of streetlights, that it happened. I was walking home from a late shift at the magazine office when I saw him standing outside the small record store, arms crossed, waiting for someone. Or maybe he was just waiting for me. I'll never know for sure. "You're late," he said, smirking, and I realized I had been holding my breath. "I didn't know you'd be here," I admitted, voice barely above a whisper. He tilted his head, studying me like he could see through the carefully constructed walls I'd built around my heart. "I like surprises," he said simply. And then, in a move that felt like it broke some unspoken rule, he took my hand. Warm, firm, grounding. My heart protested, my mind screamed, but my body betrayed me, leaning into the touch. That was the moment I started losing the battle I didn't even know I was fighting. Over the next few weeks, everything became a delicate dance. I'd find myself checking my phone obsessively, hoping for a message from him, though I told myself I wouldn't. He had this way of making ordinary days extraordinary. A rainy Tuesday felt like a private movie scene when he appeared at my doorstep with a cup of cocoa and a smile that could melt concrete. But the complication, the forbidden part, was always there. He was a client's brother, my boss's best friend, someone who, in any rational world, I shouldn't have been entangled with. Every laugh, every brush of a hand, every late-night call felt like a rebellion. And God, it was addictive. One night, we found ourselves on the rooftop of my apartment building. City lights sprawled below us like a galaxy we could almost touch. He leaned back against the railing, cigarette glowing in the dark, eyes reflecting the city. "You know," he said, exhaling slowly, "I never plan on anything, and somehow I keep ending up exactly where I'm supposed to be." I wanted to tell him that I felt the same way, that every part of me, every cautious, self-protective part, was screaming yes, even though I was terrified, but I didn't. Instead, I just rested my head on his shoulder, pretending it was casual, letting the warmth seep into me. That's when the first cracks appeared. Real life isn't cinematic, even when it wants to be. It's messy, complicated, painful. The Monday after that rooftop night, I got a call from my editor. The magazine had received a complaint, a subtle, yet unmistakable warning. Matt's name had surfaced in a way that made it clear I was treading dangerous territory. My heart sank. Suddenly, our stolen moments felt like public records, like every smile, every touch had been documented against me. And Matt, he didn't make it easier. He looked at me that evening, sitting across from him at the diner where we met, eyes soft but steady. "I know," he said quietly. "I know it's not simple, but I'm not going to walk away." And just like that, my rules crumbled. My fear, my logic, my plans, they all seemed meaningless in the face of someone who made my heart ache and soar simultaneously. The next months were a blur of stolen mornings, secret dates, and quiet confessions whispered under neon lights. Denver became our private stage. The sound of rain on the roof of my apartment, the smell of fresh coffee at 7 a.m., the feel of his hand brushing against mine on crowded streets. They were little fragments of a life I never thought I'd live, a love I never intended to have. And yet, even in that magic, there was tension. Every "I love you" felt like it carried a countdown. Every touch was laced with worry. We were two people building something fragile in the middle of a storm, knowing that it could break at any second. Then came the night that changed everything. I was late leaving the office, snow beginning to fall softly outside, the kind of snow that makes the city seem hushed and sacred. I found him waiting outside, leaning against my car. His expression was unreadable, and my stomach twisted at the sight of it. "Hey," I said, trying for casual, failing. "We need to talk," he said, voice low. And I knew, just knew, that whatever came next would either break us or make us unshakable. He led me to the little diner on 16th Street, the one with flickering neon that always made the coffee taste like nostalgia. Inside, it smelled of syrupy pancakes and fried bacon, the kind of smell that makes you feel like home even if you're miles away. He sat across from me, hands wrapped around a steaming mug, his eyes stormy but familiar. "I can't keep doing this," he said, voice barely above a whisper. "Not like this, hiding, sneaking around. I care too much to risk it, and I also care too much not to." My chest tightened. I wanted to tell him that I felt exactly the same, that every second away from him was a kind of slow torture. But the words felt too fragile, too heavy for the moment. So I just reached across the table, letting my fingers brush his. It was a small gesture, but it spoke louder than anything else. "I don't want simple," I said finally, my voice trembling. "I want real, even if it scares me." And then he smiled, the kind that makes your heart skip beats and your stomach knot at the same time. A smile that says, "Yes, even if the world falls apart, we'll find our way." From that night on, everything changed. We decided silently to stop hiding. We weren't reckless, we were deliberate, careful, but honest. It wasn't easy. People noticed, whispered, assumed the worst. But for the first time, I felt like I wasn't living in fragments. I was living in a whole, breathing moment with someone who mattered. One evening, a few months later, we drove out to Red Rocks, the wind whipping through the windows, snowflakes dancing like tiny fireflies in the headlights. I leaned my head against the passenger side window, eyes tracing the outlines of the rocks against the darkening sky. "Do you ever think about how weird it is," I asked, "that we found each other when we weren't supposed to?" He laughed softly. "I do, but maybe some rules are meant to be broken." We didn't speak after that, just let the road hum beneath us, the city lights fading behind. It felt infinite, like every second stretched just for us. The next challenge came quietly, as life tends to do. Matt got an offer to move to San Francisco for work, a dream job he couldn't refuse. I knew it was right for him, but the thought of distance clawed at me, sudden and sharp. "You're not leaving me," I said one night, voice breaking as we sat on my balcony watching the first snow of December. "I'm not," he said, brushing a loose strand of hair behind my ear. "We'll figure it out. We always do." And we did. Distance was hard, painful even, but it didn't break us. Calls at midnight, letters slipped between pages of books, surprise weekend visits, they all became our rituals, our proof that love could survive even the most inconvenient circumstances. One Friday, almost a year after that first accidental touch in the coffee shop, he showed up at my door with a small worn box. My heart started racing before I even opened it. Inside was a simple silver ring, the kind that wasn't flashy but spoke of permanence. "I didn't plan on this either," he said, holding my gaze. "But I realized something. I want you. I've never not wanted you. You're the one I never planned to love. And now I can't imagine life without you." Tears blurred my vision, but I smiled, shaking my head. "I feel the same way." We laughed then, the kind of laughter that's full of relief, joy, and disbelief all at once. And for the first time, the world felt like it was ours. Not perfect, not easy, but ours. Life kept throwing its challenges, work pressures, family expectations, small arguments, but we faced them together. I learned that love isn't always cinematic. It's often quiet, messy, and entirely real. And sometimes, the most unexpected love, the one you never plan for, is the kind that changes everything. Years later, I still remember that first day, sitting in the coffee shop, pretending I didn't notice him. I never could have predicted this life. I never planned to fall for Matt, and yet, here we are. Hand in hand, facing the world, laughing at the chaos, stronger because we chose each other every single time. And that's the thing about love. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't care about rules or logic or plans. It comes when it wants, hits you when you least expect it, and if you're brave enough to lean into it, it transforms you. I never planned to love him. I never even wanted to. And yet, loving him has been the most intentional, beautiful, terrifying, and wonderful thing I've ever done. Some rules are meant to be broken. Some hearts are meant to find the unexpected. And some loves are worth every risk, every fear, every heartbeat.